Okay, welcome everyone. Hi, just doing another update via the live because it's much easier than recording it and uploading it as I found. So, we are going to discuss what is in store for 2024. So, just a little update video and what I hope to do in the coming new year and a few other things. So, if you're not aware, last year we did a You Me in 2023, a really small group of people that would meet up every single month, first Saturday of every month to set goals and track our progress. That way, you'd feel like you were held accountable for something that you wanted to achieve. So you'd have a group of people cheering you on or networking or whatever. Okay. We also had a WhatsApp group that went along with that. So towards the end of the year, like I realized how to improve upon it and make it more efficient. And as always is the case with me, anyways, I asked a question, I received the answer in form of a book. And so I did receive the answer in the form of a book. And the book is Your Best Year Ever by Michael Hyatt. And I'm pretty impressed with what I've found in this book so far. Oop. So I really enjoy reading the little endorsements, making little notes and things. So, what I'm going to do, or have started to do, is I'm going to read this entire book that will help us set our goals. Okay. And this is just to sum this up, Dave Ramsey on the back, it says, if you really want things to change over the next 12 months, look at what your best year ever has to say. Then do what it says. So I'm like, okay, let's do what it says. So I'm going to read. I'm going to read this book. Basically, there's five major things, components. We're going to dedicate 2 months per step. I'm going to do all the prep work and then just like spoon feed it to you basically. And we'll meet every month. And then the extra 2 months we're going to use for whatever else we want, like to update, or maybe we'll do a buffer month like in the summer and then one towards the end of the year. Disciplines of gratitude. You can master your own motivation, make it happen. There's stuff about leaving the past behind. So, as you know, in Guru Grit, what I do quite a bit is like I read the book so you don't have to. So my Patreon is full of stuff like that. We're going through a Neville Goddard series right now. I've done a whole bunch of stuff. I mean, I did it even on YouTube with Abraham Hicks's first book ever, part one and two, I think, and Edgar Casey books and things like that. So, okay, so we're going to do this, but this is going to be a bit more private just because people are sharing in their plans and it's a little bit more labor intensive. So, if you would like to join us, you can sign up on Etsy. So, you can click on Etsy to register. And it's going to be called, or it is called rather, Your Best Year Ever 2024. So, what it's going to be is every month we meet up and we have a live Zoom call, and it includes things like astrological updates. Sometimes we cast people's charts and get some questions in. We obviously tell stories. We help each other out. Everybody has something that they're particularly good at or knows something. So it's quite nice. And then we have a WhatsApp group so we can text and ask questions there and share stories as well. And so, goal setting primarily, and then little things too, like Vastu remedies, numerology, whatever else. All the occult stuff comes with it. So that's why it's a bit more exciting and fun than just the regular kind of thing. But we're going to cover the eclipses, all that important stuff. Anyways, so we're doing that. So that's going to be exciting. So I'm very much looking forward to this because I feel like this is the year. It's the number 8 year, which is about power. And I'm a very eight person. I'm a very number one person as well. So I'm very like type A and go-gettery and just like I like the facts. I like the real stuff. So I'm looking forward to setting that up. Then I wanted to mention, so that's the new year. Today is the new moon. Okay, so today is a new moon and it's quite nice in the sign of Sagittarius. It's a sign of wisdom. So I've had a pretty nice experience the last couple of months in regards to things like ancestors and ancestry. And so I felt that it's important, if you're on my Patreon, patrons always get a discount, by the way, for absolutely everything. And just FYI, people who were in last year's group are automatically enrolled in this year's group as well. Okay. And patrons, if you're not, then you have to use your discount code. So if you're on my Patreon, then you would know the ritual or really important thing to venerate one's ancestors. It's called Tarpanum. So I give extensive instructions there. But the new moon is a really good time to show appreciation to all those that came before you that made your existence possible. To show, speaking of disciplines of gratitude, this is a good one. So Tarpanum, I usually start on a Monday. Today is a Tuesday. I did start it yesterday, but today's also a new moon, so it's a really good day to do it. I recommend you put out a little glass of water and a white candle for your ancestors and thank them and whatever else, okay, that you want to tell them, you tell them. If you're going to give anything as well, I would suggest black sesame seeds. So really important. And it's quite good. I might go live on TikTok later and do like tipped readings for the new moon. We'll see how I feel. I'm under the weather, so I'm very low energy, but I'll try my best. Okay. Apart from that, because it is another update, because it is is the Christmas season. It's not just any Christmas season. It's what I call COLX, the cost of living Christmas special. So it's the cost of living Christmas season. It just seems that everything has gone to absolute, hell in a handbasket, and everything's way too expensive. So I have reduced the price of my full chart reading by 30%. Right now, it's on live offer only. However, if you're not getting it for yourself, if you're getting it as a gift for someone, just message me and say, "Can I just get this pre-recorded? Because I don't know how to coordinate with the other person." That's totally fine. And then what I could do is send it ahead of time, or what I usually do as well is time them for like Christmas Eve on the email or Christmas morning, and then they automatically send out. That's what usually people prefer. So it's totally up to you. We can arrange that. And then I did bring back, if that's too much of a reading, I did bring back the single topic reading at also special pricing. So that's also available for under $100. Mini reading if someone has just one area of life they're particularly interested in, or they want to, know a little bit more about themselves, or they don't know anything about astrology. They just want a little quick like glance or something. Okay. Now, I'm also thinking of doing like year ahead readings, but I'm not sure if people would be interested in that. So I'll think about that a little bit. Um, Book reviews also for 2024. My goal is to declutter. Okay, so I have more books than anything else right now. One day I hope to own more shoes, but we'll see. Doesn't really help with the matter of clutter. So I'm hoping to get through as many books as possible. Okay, like two a month or one a week or something. And so what I would like to do is keep doing what I'm doing, which is what I'm doing is posting them so that you don't have to read them. And as we know, some of them are like out of print or really hard to find, like the occult topics and such. So if you're on Patreon, you can always make recommendations, which you would like me to read, and I can churn out those videos. And then the reason for that is to keep them in circulation because, like I said, some of them are quite hard to find. And the last couple of years I've been selling them on my Etsy because they're vintage, and some of them are so many of them are out of print and they're really hard to come by. If you go on eBay, sometimes the prices they're like absolutely wild. So my goal is to just keep the information out in the world. That's number one. And then if I promise to give it away, I always give it away. So I did have that one about sex and the spiritual path, Dr. Herbert Puryear, based on Edgar Casey's readings. And I did give that one to a viewer for free. So just want to keep the information out in the world. That's the most important thing after I've extracted what I need from it and put it out to you. So I'm also hoping to finally, it's been like a few years, people are, please do a podcast, please do a podcast. I want to listen to you when I'm doing stuff. I'm really hoping to, okay. I'm really hoping to become more structured, to have some outlines ready, but fingers crossed. Okay. I'm going to like do as much as I possibly can because I have to do other things besides Guru Grit as well. Um, and New moon I mentioned, and then yeah, the year ahead readings. I'm kind of curious about that one just because I got the idea. One of my longstanding clients wants a solar return, and her birthday is in January, and I thought about it and I was like, that's actually a pretty good idea. We can like break down the month. Um, so it would be like technically like a solar return, but it will start in January and take you through December. So it's like a personalized forecast based on you. And then I would like to keep them very, very affordable. Okay. So I'm wondering if that would be something of interest. And lastly, I was thinking about it and I noticed in her chart, hallelujah, she will be getting married. So next year. So this is it. This is like the year you will probably impulse marry somebody. You just meet them and go. Okay. And it made me laugh because on the weekend I was talking to a friend. We had breakfast. So thank you so much. She was here for work. So super honored she made time for me because she's from the States. And I mean, you've all heard me mention Jenna like 1,000 times. Okay, it's Jenna. Okay, we know it's Jenna. So we were talking about meeting people and such, and just how it's so uh, energy intensive. So what do you do when you're dating and you don't want to? Hi, Maria. Good to see you. You don't want to waste time and things like that. Okay, so it doesn't matter if you're 20, doesn't matter if you're 30, doesn't matter if you're 40, okay? Number 1, I made videos last month and then before. Dating is supposed to be fun, okay? If it's not fun, just don't talk to that person. And then people like maybe they don't know any better. Maybe so, but you're not supposed to teach them how to be a social mammal at their big age, okay? So that's the first thing. And this is what I mean. It could be something really seemingly trivial. Like people are like, "How are you? How was your weekend?" I'm not trying to be cold. You don't care how I am. You don't care about my weekend. I could explain it to you. You're probably going to write, haha, cool, or haha, cool. Like, you're not interested in what I do. Just let's be so serious, okay? You're meant to entertain me. I'm not entertained. And being nice isn't enough. And can I tell you something too? Being nice was never enough. I was in high school telling people nice means nothing. Okay. People thought I was crazy, but he's nice, but he's nice. But so what? So what? People who lure you into the back of their van are perfectly nice until they lure you to the back of their van. Okay. Niceness is just a trained behavior. You want someone who's actually interesting and intelligent and makes you feel alive, okay? And people are like, a spark isn't everything, they grow on you. Maybe so, okay? But at the end of the day, they should be well versed in being social. They should be socialized. They're adults, okay? So that's the first thing. The second thing is knowing what one wants. All right. If you don't know what you want, I promise you, you're dragging people along. If they don't know what they want, they're stringing you along. And there's no shame in admitting any of that. I never understood that. I never ever got it. And maybe I'm wrong. I'll find out when I die. But I promise you, I could not care any less than I already do. It means absolutely nothing to me. I don't give a rip. It doesn't mean a rip. That's the end of it. RIP, rest in peace. It means nothing to me. Okay. And I'll tell you why. There's a story I told this on my channel here before, where coworkers who are from an Eastern culture, so they were together for many years, got their parents' approval, they got married, right? I need to hydrate. It stresses me out so bad. I love myself. Okay, so they set up a pair of their friends on a dinner date who both wanted to get married. And the guy explicitly told them, I'm looking for a wife. Okay. He didn't say, I'm looking for a situationship, a new friend. He said, I'm looking for a wife. All right. He's in his late 20s, maybe pushing 30, 31, something like that. He's not a little boy, he's a grown man. The girl was about our age, 26, 27. You know what you want after 25 more often than not, okay? You have some idea, you have some clue if you want to be alone forever or not, all right? You have some idea, okay? In that haze, you get it. They went out to dinner. She asked him, "What are you looking for?" He told her, "I'm looking to get married." Then he asked her, "What are you looking for?" She said, "Okay, good. I want to get married too." Which is perfectly normal because they went on that date under the assumption they were looking for serious relationships. Otherwise, they would not have gone. This was communicated to and through their friends to one another. So there is no surprise here. I asked my friend the following week at work what happened with that couple and their date. She went, "Oh my God, she screwed up so bad." I'm thinking she like became belligerently intoxicated and hit a waiter over the head with a bottle of wine. Okay. Like when you say that to me, I'm thinking someone broke a law, did something morally reprehensible, and acted like King Kong. Okay. She said she told him she wants to get married. And she was like shocked. And I said, okay, like under what like context did she? She's like, well, she asked him and he said he wanted to get married. So she told him she wanted to get married. Like, oh my God, he like said she was desperate and like ran away. And I completely agree. Hi, Archangel Michael. And I said, wait a minute, didn't you set them up under that same pretense? And wait a minute, didn't you say verbatim he said he was looking for a wife? So you found someone who's actually looking for the same thing as you. They don't have to be the right person, okay? But why are you shaming them for wanting love? That is the weirdest thing in the world. Like we just all want to be loved, you know? And then I said to her, "Wait a minute, aren't you married? How do you think you got there? Did you just like wake up one day in a bridal gown? Like no, you had to have some kind of logical conversation to arrive at the conclusion that you were going to be legally wed to another person." Okay? So this drives me absolutely nuts. Okay? So if you're dating, stop feeling shame or like you're a loser for actually wanting someone to like you and for looking for someone that you want to like. That's an even bigger thing. It doesn't stem from insecurity. A relationship where you have no one to admire sucks, okay? Because you can see it in those people's eyes. Like you can see it when they look at their partner, like, I don't respect them. And you can smell it on them. They're like, they don't even like each other. They don't even like it. Like I grew to dislike them as a person. It's like it wafts up your nostrils. You can feel it. You know what I mean? Don't you want someone you actually like being around? Don't you want someone you actually enjoy and like want to be near for a long period of time? Okay? So stop this sort of like weird shame culture about like having feelings. It's super duper immature. And I'm guessing one of the books we're going to be discussing next year is going to be The Vanishing American Adult, because I've been saying this for years that the West glorifies like the infantilizing of adults, that you're supposed to be as immature for as long as possible. And I don't know why. You should pride yourself on growing up. You should be able to handle challenges and responsibility and all this other stuff. Anyway, I talk about that mostly with relationships, you know what I mean? So, anyway, I was talking to my friend, as I was saying, we're having breakfast, and she was like, "I just want to know what's up." Like in 2, 3 sentences. Like if you meet someone online, she said, if a guy says he doesn't really know what he wants, or he like wants new friends and he's like on Tinder or something, she says she finds it rather odd. I said, "Well, that's something I would kind of do, like I don't want to like advertise what I'm looking for." She says, "Women can do it. Men can't do it. A man being mysterious is like dangerous." And I was like, that's actually true. Being overly mysterious is just vulgar. At the end of the day, there's just something vulgar about it. Like just tell people what you're looking for. Like be comfortable in yourself. It's not desperate. It's not what you do, it's how you do it. You know what I mean? If you're just like, yeah, look, I'm 27, I'm whatever, 33. I know what I want. I know what I don't want. What's popping? You know what I mean? So that's totally fine. So that got me thinking, and I said, "Yeah, I've really got to take it to the next level because I've been planning since September having a February special on YouTube, but especially on Patreon, where I'm going to take all of my Dr. Gray books. I've got about like a handful of them, and all of my relationship books. I've already actually started reading Soulmates by Jess Stern. If you don't know, I mentioned Jess Stern a lot. He was an astrologer. He was very familiar with Edgar Casey's readings and all the New Age kind of movement back in his day, 60s, 70s, etc. So I'm reading his book, and then I swear to God, like, see, books talk to me. I'm not even kidding. I went into a thrift store in another city. In another city, I drove. Okay, and this is the first book that I saw. Past lives, present loves. Okay, so it's again to do with hypnotherapy and people finding each other. So February, we're gonna go through the whole thing. Okay, the dating, the energy, anything to do with love, anything to do with relationships, attracting them. I think keeping them is a bit harder than attracting them. Okay, fixing them as well, all of it. We're gonna go through all of it. I'm gonna go through as many books as I can. I was thinking to do one a week. I don't think it's enough. I think I'm gonna have to start prepping now and try to churn them out as much as possible. Make it like presentations and like break it down and like bullet point for people, because it seems like lovelessness is like the biggest thing in the world right now. We're like everyone wants it and no one knows how to get it and they're so frustrated. So anyhow, speaking to my friend, so if you're out there and you're dating, know what you want. And if you don't know what you want, I'm going to say something that's unpopular. And I honestly don't care. I've always said this. If you don't know what you want, don't bring other people into it. I don't think it's safe. I don't think it's responsible. And I think it's unethical. I think it's actually cruel. And people will say really short sighted things like, how are you supposed to find out if you don't try? Read, develop yourself, observe life. You know what I mean? Why do you have to, like, do you see what I'm saying? How am I crazy? They look at me like I'm the nut bag, like I'm nuts, okay? You're using other people as your guinea pigs, and you want me to sit back and not call you a mad scientist. Thank you, Archangel Michael. Truth. You know what I mean? That's just like crazy to me that it's okay for you to leave like a trail of broken hearts and discarded people that you've dispensed with once you've grown bored or figured things out. Blah, blah, blah. You're just, these are not toys, these are human beings. Right? When people say life is a game, they mean it's a mental game. You don't actually play games with people. So we're going to find out, like, how do you figure out what you actually want without hurting other people and messing up your energy? And if you're really into the new age and stuff, okay, like we'll call it creating more karma. I have a complicated relationship with that word, but all right. So we're going to figure all that out. We're going to have fun in February because I'm really determined. This is the last year that people have a hard time with relationships. Okay. And so this is the third thing I would like to mention, and it's on the point of gold digging, which we also brought up in our breakfast discussion. Okay. When people get really, really offended that other people have some type of standard, and I talk about gold digging a lot. Okay. Like I'm a bored gold digger. So people always wonder, what's wrong with you? And this is the truth. Okay. And I've offended some boyfriends by saying this. I said, most people don't marry for love because most people don't know what love is. That's just a fact. Okay, most people do not know how to love freely, deeply, honestly, and consistently. Right? It's usually conditional. To some extent, love should be conditional. Okay, if someone mistreats you, you should remove yourself from that situation, right? You should love your children unconditionally. I think you can love your pets unconditionally. You should love your parents unconditionally. You're kind of wired to, anyways. Okay. Sometimes boundaries are good. Sometimes boundaries are good. But when it comes to your partner, they should earn you. They should show you respect. They shouldn't raise their voice to you. They shouldn't call you outside of your name. All these other things. All right. You can grow as people, you can change, but you shouldn't accept uh, behavior that's morally reprehensible. So when I say, most people don't marry for love because they don't know what love is, I really mean that. Just because you're 30 doesn't mean that you're mature. That's the truth. You could be 13 until you're 30, basically. You could be 16 until you're 60. That some people are just like that. Everything they've learned by the time they were 15, and it's just the way it stayed. The only thing that changes, they pay bills and drive a car now. That's it. Okay. And they raise kids sometimes, frighteningly so, but it's the truth. So what I want to mention is love alone is not enough. Love is the most important thing in the world, to me anyway, because I come from a loving family and I have loving friendships and relationships and all that jazz. But alone is not enough. You still have to function in the world. And people get offended when I say that. But truly, if you love someone, you don't enjoy watching them suffer. Does that not make sense? You don't want them to be hurt. You don't want them to struggle, right? Like, how many times have we seen stories of women who lived out of cars with men, and as soon as the man made a bit of money, he left her for someone else? Don't do that. Why? But that's not enough. What do you mean? You know what I mean? Not everybody reciprocates that. That's at that point, that's just self abuse. Okay. And when people are like, "Oh, that's cruel. Women are so materialistic." Well, how many men do you know deliberately aim to be with women they don't find attractive forever? Like very little. And then if you say to them, "Is it enough that she's hot?" It's not. It's not enough. Looks are not enough. She has to be polite. She has to probably be nice to your family. She has to probably take an interest in you as a human being. Do you know what I mean? Right? That means even I don't think anyone ever just marries for money. On some level, that person cannot be insufferable to you. Okay. You're going to like break out into rashes if you're around someone you hate that long. You're going to make yourself sick. They're in fairy tales. You have to actually like something about them. But that's just normal human relationship. That's just normal. You have to like someone and have a functioning life with them. If you don't believe me, ask severely, ask extremely religious people. I remember at my job, I had a few Jehovah's Witnesses. I was so fascinated by their minds. I don't know what they do, but they are some of the most intelligent people I've ever met in my life, ever, ever. I don't know how they're raised. I don't know a lot, but I learned a lot just like by listening to them and having like an open mind and asking them questions. And they're very calm and they're very receptive to me. I was never like attacking them. But I remember this one guy, I said to him, "Would you marry someone who wasn't a Jehovah's Witness?" He said, "You could. Love can overcome anything." But he was so young, you know what I mean? But he wasn't like wishy washy. He said, "I just know that in the long run, it is a lot easier to marry someone who's similar to you in mentality." Because I was like 23. I was like, nah, nah, nah. Like, if you're really in love, it's enough, it's enough, it's enough. And now, like a few years later, I'm just like, no, he was onto something because it permeates every area of life. Because that sort of drugged up feeling of infatuation that you get that fades. You want to have your values in line. You want to have how you do things, how you handle stress, how you handle coping mechanisms. So I will leave you with this. On that note, if someone doesn't know what they want, honestly be really, really wary, especially the older they are and stuff like that, because I'll see on dating apps, they'll say like they're 45, they're divorced, and they're taking it slow. They don't know what they want. They're figuring it out. That time is over for you. That's like 18. Figure out what you want by going and sitting on a therapist's couch. Figure out what you want by self development. And now you're like 45 or something, you put your age limit to like 25, 28 years old. Do you think a 20 something year old woman is just going to be strung along for 10 years and let you use her like childbearing years so you can figure out what you want while you're walking around with a hot young piece? You're not that special. Like, you need a reality check. That's absolutely insane to me. It's crazy. Okay. So it's also not fair to other people. That's just weird. But anyway, know what you want. And what was I talking about before that? Hmm. What anybody remember? I don't remember what I was saying. Yeah, just know what you want. Be open about it. Don't feel shame. for wanting to build a life and be a normal person, and know that your values and mentality has to align to some degree. To some degree. So that means no matter how attractive someone is or how wealthy someone is, that alone is not enough. Human beings are complex. There's many factors to making a relationship work. So I say all this to say, don't allow someone to guilt you into turning away from what you actually desire because they're trying to say that like you're shameful or you're lazy or blah 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 blah, right? And then what'll they say? Like, usually it's between the sexes, right? Then they'll say, men will say, "It's just my preference. It's just my preference. A woman looks like this, 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 this." Then say, "Then it's just my preference that your bank statements look like that, 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 that." And don't ask me to cook and clean. If you have money, you hire someone to do that. Like, you're supposed to be with me because you like me as a person. You enjoy my personhood. You enjoy my company. You confide in me. I give you counsel. I give you advice. I support you emotionally. Da, da, da. It's a whole bunch of little things, okay? It's not just like that one thing. So, yeah, if you're going on dates, I would say the online age and the internet age and all this stuff with apps has made so much covert and nuanced behavior possible. And so many people are burnt out and tired, because they're like, you're probably talking to like 10 other people, blah, 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 blah. Just straight up, just say, "This is what I want. You can do it or you can't." And I don't know why that's even taboo. I don't even know why that's taboo. When you apply for a job, they tell you what your qualifications must be within a certain range. Okay. When they post a job, when you apply for a job, you counter that and say, "These are my qualifications. They're within this range." And you sit down and you negotiate and you begin a relationship. You're in relationship to everything, in relationship to nature, in relationship to your maker, society, your phone company. You have a contract with them, your medical records. You have you exist on paper all over, everywhere. If you intend to exist in a relationship by signing a lease, making a child, getting married, purchasing a property, whatever, just let them know, and hopefully they're honest with you and they let you know as well. Let's just like banish this sort of like weird middle school mentality. Really, when people tell me how much trouble they go through dating this day and age, you know what I get the mental image of? A middle school dance where all the boys are on one side of the wall of the gymnasium and the girls are on the other side of the wall. And they're like, "I don't know." And the boys are like shuffling their feet. Stop it. This is like 20, 30, 40, 50 years after we've all been 12 years old, okay? We should just come out with it, okay? You don't have to be blunt, you don't have to be intense, but you can be chill and you can be totally honest, okay? We are not kids anymore. No, we're not. Those days are over. Well said. And that's the thing I always think Wayne Dyer and like so many people say, when I was a child, I thought like a child, I acted like a child, I spoke like a child. Not a child anymore. You don't have to think and feel like a kid. Yes, we all have vulnerabilities. I understand all of that. But at the end of the day, just, bear in mind that has an effect on someone else as well. Okay. So if you want something, you have to go do something about it. And I don't understand why relationships just, the whole theme of relationships really like it scares people, like if you want to be a plumber, you have to go get certified to do that. That's the first step that you take. And then you show up to work, you apprentice, you do whatever, and then you're flying solo, right? Well, when you want a relationship, the prerequisite for that is knowing what qualifications are required of you. And then you go and you present them and you find someone who fits and you start working. But it's eternal. You're always working on it. Okay. Anyway, I just wanted to get that off my chest because it's just, I've been hearing this constantly as the year's closing that people are so stressed out and frustrated. They can't seem to, it's not even about meeting people. They can't even date with some sort of semblance of normalcy. And it's just like mind boggling to me. I'm like, this isn't supposed to be hard. This is supposed to be fun. Here's a hot tip. Okay. If you're watching this for whatever reason on this Tuesday afternoon, people don't do anything and they write everywhere for miracles these days. Okay, so people don't do anything and they write 777 everywhere for miracles these days. I find that very funny. Okay, so there's an element of action, and I don't believe, like I always say this on YouTube, I don't believe in signs so much. Like um, Neville says, signs follow, they never proceed. And I'm going to do a whole thing when we go over the 2024. I'm going to do a whole section on reality transurfing. And that's the whole thing. Signs only work to the degree that you believe in those signs, and there's a way to use them. Okay. So this is what I do. So I'm going to go into that. But that's true. It's like if you're dating, it's supposed to be fun. So here's a hot tip. Okay. Just avoid doing these 3 things, please, like, please, 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 please. When you match with someone or if you go up to someone, number 1, I don't understand why this is so common. I never liked it, even, like, in university, I would never entertain people, okay? They would say, "Hi," like, "So what do you do?" I would always go, "I don't." Like, what does that mean? Like, if I'm a mechanic, like, and you require my services, like, these are my office hours, like, business hours, like, why are you asking me this? I'm out here to have fun. I'm not out here to talk about work. And honestly, I have come to observe no matter how much someone loves what they do for a living, they don't want to talk about work when they're not at work. And it doesn't benefit them. Okay? Like I remember jokingly someone saying something about hedge funds. And people always make the joke like what's a hedge? What's and then they stand there, they have to like explain it to you and it's going over their heads like it's not cute. You know, they're like, oh, I'm a doctor, what kind? Like I'm sure they don't mind, but if you just imagine that, okay? Like, imagine someone asking you the same question like 30,000 times. It's not cute. And the only time I would ever do that is deliberately if I'm not having fun, just so the other person gets the hint. So I was on a date a couple weeks ago and the dude was a twin. And I was like, I bet you get bored like getting asked the same twin questions. He's like, yeah, it's kind of a lot. But then he never asked me anything about myself. So me being me, because I'm like a little bit Machiavellian and like bit of a prankster, I just kept like being like, "Oh, does your brother have tattoos? Oh, does your brother do this? Oh, does your brother?" Because I'm like, how do you not clue in that you're boring? So I was like, oh my god. So I have to entertain myself at some point. I have to do something. But anyway, so don't ask people what they do for work. It's truly like, and this is like a big thing. If I ever taught a course on it, I would just tell you why. We are not in a business meeting. We're not in a business meeting. Even though I look like I am right now, okay, it's not a vibe. The reason is this. When you're looking for especially when a man does it to a woman in a heterosexual thing, it's a little bit like, "Ugh," okay? You are signaling to that person 2 things. 1, you're only interested in, like, what they've achieved, external factors, it can make them feel a bit, like, awkward or something for whatever reason. You also never know. You never know. Maybe, God forbid, maybe their grand was ran over by a truck and they're on stress leave and they haven't worked or they went postal. Don't ask people that. You don't know what kind of shame they have around. Maybe they're a recovering addict and they've been out of work. You don't know. Just don't make them bring it up. It's like, why is that your business anyway? Okay. So don't ask them what they do for work. Why? Because if you're looking for a mate, what you're signaling to them is you're not looking for characteristics. You're not actually inquiring about their character. All right. If you're a mailman or a CEO, does it matter if a woman wants to marry an honest man? She should just have a conversation with you. Find out if you're honest. Find out if you're, family oriented. Are you down to earth? Are you whatever she's looking for? Right. Okay. I'm not like saying you can't marry a CEO or whatever, blah, blah, blah. But at the end of the day, it signals to that person, whether they're male or female, that you're not really um interested in like the type of person they are. And there is a time and place you can ask those things. I just don't think your first meeting is it. I personally don't. I find those interactions to be really transactional and extremely boring. Okay, they're extremely boring. And then I can't stand it. And number two, what it signals is the second thing it signals is you're not an original thinker. I'm sorry, but it's true. Like I don't care who disagrees. I really don't care. It's like if every month you have to answer the same question like 20, 30, 50 times, however often you date or whatever. At some point you're just going to start to like think like, wow, people really don't think for themselves. And you know who I'm going to pay attention to? The one person who thinks for themselves, who actually is entertaining and interesting and interested in entertaining me instead of just extracting information from me. Like this is extremely boring. Okay. So don't do that. Don't ask people what they do. I promise you, like, even if they have it on their profile, that's enough. If they say they're a teacher, whatever, cool. Second, third date, if they bring it up, feel free to inquire. But really, why? Someone's like, I want to know they're not a bum or they work. Just don't do it on the first time you meet, even if it's in person. You walk up to someone, just okay, just it's kind of. I'm sorry, like it's uncouth. I don't like it. Secondly, stop. Like if you're online, stop with the "How are you?" You're not a therapist. Okay, you couldn't help me if I was in a bad way. We all know you've cornered them. There's only one way to answer that is good. And if you're truly bored, you can answer like bad, say like a raccoon locked itself in my recycling bin. I'm scared to get it out. Ha 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 ha. But really, it's just boring. Again, you don't care how I am. You don't care. They act like inspectors. Yeah, you don't care what I did on the weekend because you're just gonna. I can't tell you how many times, somebody will say, I told them, I answer them, and they answer their own question. I didn't ask them. They take no interest in what I have to say. So stop it. Okay? Look for something on their profile, make a conversation out of that, be interesting, be funny, be yourself. And if that really is who you are, then I hope you match up with someone who works that out. So that's stop asking how they are. And third, stop asking about, what they did or what they're gonna do. Like what'd you do on the weekend? Do you really care? I don't think you do because that's a low effort question you can ask like 5 people a day and give a very low effort answer to, and honestly, as someone who has to answer those questions, it's like, "Oh my god, another one. Oh my god, another one." At that point, you should just start, like, copy pasting the answers because it's so boring, okay? So stop it, like, actually take an interest in the person, ask them something, and then, I will add to that is not to text endlessly. I still cannot believe people do this. I can't believe people still do this. It's so odd, it's bonkers. Okay, make a date. Like, if you text for a whole day, call them, text for a day, call them and talk for 5 minutes. If they don't suck, ask them out and then go out. So if you call them on the Monday and the date is on Thursday, don't text them all day every day, Tuesday and Wednesday and Thursday until your date. Because if your date blows, you just like zapped 3 days of their emotional energy from them. I personally don't even give my phone number until we've been on 2 or 3 dates, and I'm sure that you're not lame. I'm just like, I'm not. Why? Just like another random number in my phone. I don't want that. Why do you need that information anyway? You know what I mean? If we go out and we have fun, you can have my number, but otherwise I'm just like, nah, I'm good. You know what I mean? So it's really that simple. It's really, really that simple. Okay. I hope that helps whoever, wherever, and I'll see you hopefully before the new year. Otherwise, I'll be on TikTok and I have my special readings up. They make great presents, etc., etc. And I'll see you in the new year. Go sign up for the 2024 Your Best Year Ever. Thank you so much for being here. Okay, I love you. Bye.